all been played. It's so easy to see. Then we're all made to think that we're free. The older I get, I'm amazed at those who still are not upset by the ones that control. Memorization never made us smart. It's the sterilization of our minds and our hearts. Memorization never made us smart. It was fertilization in the schools. That's where it starts. Where it starts. When your mind starts to open, you see it all on what we face. The games they've been playing to close the walls around your space. The older I get, my anger grows. It's a sure bet most people don't know. Memorization never made us smart. It was fertilizations in the schools, that's where it starts. Memorization never made us smart. Yeah, we want to take the song out now because we know you got so much to talk about. But I hope no one memorized the lyrics to that because that's what I don't want anybody to do. Anyway, David, good to see you again. I know you're busy. This is another show. You've been like going wild. There should be a game show, David Weiss Gone Wild on the. They should have that.
John, it's always good to talk to you. I remember when we were friends online for a long time, that I met you in Vegas face to face. You were my limo driver, Uber driver,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I believe it was on 9/11, right? You were out at New York, New York, handing out books and pamphlets, and nobody cared.
Yeah, that was the
Nobody
last.
cared.
That was the last year I did it. I handed out a
Yeah.
lot of 9/11 Truth DVDs, and like all truth movements that I'm in, I always say you are your truth movement. I am my own truth movement. At the end of the day, that's what we all are. Because to be in a group, you're always gonna have someone disagree with what you say. So I love your background there. It looks like you're pretty set and pretty flat. Yeah, I think start. I've seen you do so many shows. Start with how you got started a little bit, and then go into how things work on both the round ball and the flat Earth kind of thing like that.
John, like you said, when you saw that I was looking into it, you looked into it. I looked into it after just banning people from our social media. So, flat Earth, dumbest thing ever. But once you look into it, you can't unsee what you see. I mean, this is a shot from 120,000 feet. There is no curvature, but a baller, I would call them, would say, that's because the Earth is too big. It's like this is 120,000 feet. How much farther how much higher do you have to get to be able to see curvature? So, um, for people listening that have never heard of flat Earth, I'm offering a Bitcoin, two Bitcoins actually, for one proof of the globe. One. That's all you got to do. One proof of the globe. Real quick, what is the flat Earth? Well, it's not a disk floating in space. If you Google flat Earth, you're going to end up at the Flat Earth Society. You're going to see images like, if I can find it, images like this, right? This is not what the flat Earth is. We're not a disk floating in space. If we're not a pancake Earth floating in space with other, round planets or pancake planets, none of that is true. What are we? And the way I describe it is the Earth is an extended plane. It's the basement of the universe. We live in the Antarctic pond, if you will, in the Antarctic basement. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. The Earth is 70% water, and it measures flat, testably, scientifically, provably flat. All of the islands are surrounded by water, but the water needs a container. That container is the land that we call Antarctica, and Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. We live in the Antarctic basin. Our sun circles around over this, and that's where we live. Antarctica is not the continent at the bottom of a ball. It's the land. It's everything that surrounds us. How far out does it go? Don't know. It's off limits.
And that's the other thing. There's been reports that lands on the other side of the ring, and
Right.
there's other maps, and that's what I try to tell people. I like to call it stationary earthers. We just bottom line is every scientific experiment trying to prove the Earth is rotating and moving through space has failed.
Every single one, and they don't tell you that. Here's a Japanese map that was discovered in Hawaii, showing like 30 or some odd continents beyond Antarctica. There's so much evidence of what's going on, but we don't even need to speculate what's beyond Antarctica or what's over our heads. There's plenty of things that we can do here. We can see too far. We can look at airplane routes. Airplane routes make absolutely no sense on a globe. On a globe, they make no sense. Santiago to Australia. Let's go to Western Australia. To go to Western Australia, the plane flies all the way up to the north over the equator, flies all the way over to China and Japan and Singapore, and it goes all the way down. What is this giant? Why are they going like this when they could just cut across the bottom of a ball like that? Bam. But they take that route because that route looks like this. We want to go to Western Australia. We go all the way up, northern hemisphere, across the United States, China, Japan, Western Australia. And it's a straight line.
And don't flights in the south hemisphere, when they're going over the water, they fall off the radar. Like they only
when a plane leaves like Santiago, where am I? Leaves Santiago, as soon as it's like 100 miles offshore, boom, it disappears off the radar and it goes into approximated mode, and then it doesn't show up until it's about 100 miles off of Australia.
Right. So what are they trying to hide in that? Obviously, they're trying to hide how they're traveling with it. And
they don't want you to know the real plane route. Like, for example, here's a shot from Taiwan to Los Angeles. Hawaii is right here. There was a medical emergency. This is what they showed on the seat back. They showed this is where you're going. And there was a medical emergency right about here. They could have landed in Hawaii. They could have continued on. But instead, they went over 1,000 miles, couple thousand miles out of the way to Alaska. All right? Why would they do that? Well, if you look at the route.
Right.
This is Taiwan, emergency. Alaska's right there. Hawaii is all the way out here. All of these happen. There's been 16 documented flat Earth emergency landings that make zero sense on a globe and make perfect sense on a flat Earth. You look at where they say the plane's flying and why did it go all the way over here to Moscow or wherever? Why did it land over there? Then you take a flat Earth map, you draw a line from the starting point to the finishing point, and that emergency landing's right on that line every single time.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the first things I started looking at, the flights. And also another thing is when I walk outside, people say, "Why do you believe the Earth is flat and stationary?" I said, "Well, I go outside, I look up, and the sun doesn't look that far to me, and I don't. You can feel an earthquake, but you can't feel a 1,000 mile an hour rotation. That's pretty simple, right there, right?"
Watch this, John. This is called a hypersonic jet track, and watch, this thing's going to go by at Mach 8.6. Did you see it?
No.
Watch it again. Now, like if I could have sound, the sound is it's literally like an explosion as it goes by. Watch, ready? Boom. That's Mach 8.6. So fast you can't even see it.
Right.
Okay. You have to believe, right? If you believe in the helio-nonsensical model that they tell us we live on, you have to believe that we're orbiting around the sun 8 times or 10 times faster than that. 10 times faster than that thing I just showed you.
Right.
Okay. We're also chasing the sun at 80 times faster than what I just showed you. And we don't feel any of that.
Not to mention, we're tilted at 66.6 degrees and
Right.
going 66,600 miles an hour. Those the numbers seem to show a lot.
Yeah. So again, it is a satanic, crazy system that we live in. But this to me, I mean, you have to believe that we're orbiting 8 times faster than this. Ready? Here it comes. Ready? It's gonna go. Oh, what already went. Okay.
I think I saw it that time. I think I did. Oh,
Well, you're seeing the I don't know that smoke or what the hell is going on.
right.
I mean, that thing is going not as fast as the Earth is orbiting, which is dumb. This alone should prove that we're not moving. If someone could watch this and believe that we're going 8 times faster than that around the sun and 80 times faster than that chasing the sun, then flat Earth might not be for you.
Yeah, right. Well, how about
Truth might not be for
how
you.
about eclipses? I mean, people always make that. You'll see that picture. They'll show a flat Earth, and they'll try to make fun of the eclipses. But they do make more sense on a flat plane.
They only make sense on a flat Earth. We're told that the sun is 400. What? Someone saying something?
No.
Right? All right. The sun is 400 times bigger than the moon and 400 times farther, which makes them appear to be the same size. If that was true in this beehive, whoops, we're going down. In this beehive solar system, that the chances of them lining up perfectly are like 0.00 add 100 more zeros to 1. Okay. Well, we get eclipses all the time, every year, and every 18 years the eclipse repeats. They're on an 18-year cycle. There's 2 different cycles. That can only happen on a perfectly intelligently designed system. This is the Antikythera mechanism. It was found off of Greece, off the island Antikythera, and they found this thing, encrusted in the mud or in the rock, and they did MRIs on it and X-rays, and they built it. And it's a machine that perfectly detects when and where the phases of the moon, the eclipses, when they happen, and the positions of several of the planets. Okay, a machine that does this. It was made, I think it was like, I don't know, it's more than 1,000 years old, whatever it is. So this shows that all of our history is a lie. Everything. We're told that we're at the peak of intelligence. We are one step away from mediocrity. In the 1800s, the intelligence here, the worldwide civilization was here, with high tech, free energy, a world united system that has been taken away from us. It's been stolen from us, and it was stolen from us in the early 1900s.
Yeah, I've been watching that video, boy. The history of Earth that was.
Yeah.
That have you know who that guy is?
We've been in communication with him. He wants to stay a little non-public, but he did that on my app. While we're talking, can you enable screen sharing? The way you do that is just where it says screen share on the bottom is a little up arrow, and then click that menu, and it says allow all participants to screen share simultaneously.
That's what I'm at Town Sasha to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Participants can share simultaneously.
So, yeah, he did it. It's done. Very good. Look, I'll share. In my app, this is the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. If you want to learn about Flat Earth, don't bother Googling it, because you're going to just get Professor Dave, Byman Dan.
Yeah,
you're going to get a bunch of nonsense. And you'll give up. You'll go, oh, Flat Earth is stupid, because they'll just... It's a trap for weak-minded people.
They're infiltrators of the truth. That's what they are.
Yeah, they're gatekeepers. They're soulless, little gremlins. If you hit the web button, this page comes up. In the center, Lost History of Flat Earth.
All right.
And in that is, I hate recommending long videos. Like I'm all about short videos for people. But if you hit that, up comes this playlist. And on the top one is the Lost History of Flat Earth, parts 1 through 7, all put together. It's 5 hours.
Yeah.
Now, that's a big commitment. I've watched it 4 times, John, in a very short period of time, and I'm ready to watch it again. It's so friggin' well done. But then he did another series called "What on Earth Happened," and there's 8 or 13 parts. Now, some of them are missing. You'll see it jumps from when you're watching it from like 4 to 9 or whatever. If it jumps, just look in the description because those are ones that are not suitable for screw tube, and they're on another platform. So the links to the ones that are missing are in the one before.
Well,
All right.
I got a email from Mike Williams saying he's putting together an 8 hour video from that guy now.
Oh yeah, Mike just mirrored it the other day. No, he just put it. Yeah, he just put it up the other day. It's one of the most interesting videos I've seen. So
Well, and I can tell everybody, I'm watching this 5 hour video. I'm not bored at all. I'm loving every second of it. And the 8 hours, I can't wait to see that one too. I mean,
But so check this out. I tell people it's in 7 parts, so just watch one chapter, then turn it off, and then watch it. The couple days later. Same thing happens to everybody. They watch one and they can't turn it off, and they watch the whole thing every single time, every single person. This is from the video, and this is a reverse image of the moon, and then it's highlighted. This is a map of the world. It's unbelievable when you do it. He labels it out in detail,
right.
And this is where we live. This is our North Pole right here. This is the shoreline that we call Antarctica. And this migrates around this circle once every 25,000 years. So our landmass in 12,000 years will be over here, and this will be an ice age. Okay?
Okay.
It's truly amazing, amazing idea.
Where is this guy from?
We don't know. We don't know. You know,
he could be from on the other side of Antarctica.
Yeah, he told us his story. His stuff is so good. I'm suspicious. I'm really suspicious, and he won't show himself. Okay, I get it. But his story was, he's trying to wake people up, and he's really good at making videos and doing research. And he figured he'd just make some videos, and he started making these things. And they keep disappearing off the internet because he keeps putting stuff in there that's not suitable for free people.
Yeah, exactly.
So I highly, highly recommend that to anybody. And if you can find it online. You can find all of this stuff that I share is online, but the problem is you just can't find it. So I tell people get my app, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. And just if you're unsure about spending $3 on an app, just read the reviews. You'll become a flat earther from reading the reviews. It's in Apple and it's on Google Play. It's the highest rated app in both stores.
Well, I was calling a few of my truth friends, and they were watching it too. I was calling them to tell them about the video, and they were as excited as I was. And we were just, wow, is that great? It's such, when you start finding out new things to open your mind even further, it's the most exciting things. I've had people over the years tell me, do you do this all the time?
All the time.
And I go, what do you mean? What don't you? People ask me this, David. Do you have a life? I go, yeah, my life is trying to find out what everything is before I go, man.
I think our goal here is to find out what this place is.
Right.
That's what we're doing. That's what's interesting. That's why you want to travel and explore. You want to figure it out. You want to honor this creation. The evil bastards that are running this place, they're anti everything, anti creation, anti human.
Right.
And you can see what's going on. They want to control our minds. They don't want us knowing the truth of who we are and how powerful we are. They want us divided. They divide us every way.
Well, that's what social media was for from the start. Social media, I'm sure, was to divide us because look how good it's done that job, right?
Well, a lot of the other thing is, I say this carefully, they're also human. I'm not sure they're so human. I don't know if someone without a soul is really truly a human, but they want us. They're flawed and they make mistakes. Like they gave us the Alex Jones, who's a shill. Well, Alex Jones woke a lot of people up. He woke me up, right? And so they do all of these things and they backfire all the time. They're backfiring left and right. People are waking up. They can't do anything to us unless we agree. But people, that stare at the news all day, well, they're hypnotized and they're lost souls. But if you wake up and all of a sudden you start seeing, John, you and I, you remember when I had Exposing the Big Three, the New York event, the Connecticut event, and the marathon event.
Right. You got to say it that way.
Yeah, and those three things, I figured those are so easy to prove. I'll just show people this stuff, and they'll wake up, and people see it, and they're like, the people that did it, they're not going to be in power long, and and they just forget about it, and they go back to work. You wake someone up to the flat Earth, you wake someone up to that, it gets under your skin, and you can't ever not pay attention to it. Like the thing that happened in New York. Somebody in Thailand probably doesn't care. Somebody in Ohio doesn't care. I went to Ohio as soon as they started flying again after that, and the people there were very they weren't as. I'm right next to New York, so it was a very different vibe there. So different things affect different people everywhere. Flat Earth affects every single person across the entire Earth plane the same all the time, every day.
Well,
There's
you
nothing to it, and it's because you want your soul. Your soul knows the truth of where you are. Your soul, in my mind, is a piece of God that you're here experiencing the world, expanding the mind of the Creator, and your brain, your consciousness has amnesia, doesn't know where the hell you are, and they've captured your consciousness with the news. They steer you with the news, which is an acronym for North, East, West, South.
Right. What you jogged my memory about it. In 2008, they took a survey in the country we went to with all the poppy fields, and I'm being careful with what I say here. And 92% never heard of the event in New York. Of the people where we
Wow.
were, and it was like 7 or 8% heard about it. And my response was, how the heck did they hear about it anyway? They're living in caves. How would they hear anything about this thing? You know? I mean,
Amazing.
yeah, that was a poll. I don't know you didn't see that poll. I said, you guys hear about what happened? Do you know why we're here? No, they didn't know why they were.
Not
here.
everybody gets to see every play, John.
Yeah, exactly. And here's something that I posted just the other day. Imagine taking orders from liars, thieves, pedophiles, psychopaths, and thinking you're more virtuous than those who disobey.
John, this video was taken from one of the soldiers in Afghanistan, and this is super sped up, and it shows the sun not going down, super dry, clear, and the sun is just going away. And as Paul McCartney says, the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, and the eyes in his head sees the world spinning round.
Allegedly, Paul McCartney. Allegedly.
Well, that's the big Paul, real Paul, whatever. Their whole CIA friggin' thing, anyway. But they're singing about there's truth in the music, lies in the news.
Well, that's
there's truth in your music.
Their truth doesn't get censored like mine does, though. That's the thing. Anyway, yeah. Did you? Hey, by the way, I hope you enjoyed memorization. I hope you didn't memorize the lyrics.
I forgot it.
Oh, good. That's my whole object. Okay, now we go. Oh, show the eclipses though. How you did that? You had an experiment, and you show how it actually what it is, and what I try. Yeah, the lunar eclipse, how it gets in front, and all of a sudden it's there, and also explain to people how you stare at it. They tell you not to stare at it; it'll hurt your eyes, and it doesn't hurt your eyes.
So the 2017 eclipse was midday, so it was high in the sky. But luckily, they were spraying the crap out of the sky, and there was a haze kind of dimming it. Right? I say luckily sarcastically. They always try to hide the eclipses. And Paige and I stared at the entire eclipse for the whole hour and a half without even sunglasses. And I say my eyes got a little bit better. Right? My eyesight wasn't too bad, but it got a little bit better. They don't want you looking at the sun. They offer you free glasses that blind you. They don't want you seeing what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the other day, we had like an 80% eclipse here, and it was at sunrise. So, I do a lot of sun gazing, but you can stare at the sun at sunrise. So I watched the entire thing probably for a solid hour, and my eyes are significantly better.
Right, but what it is that goes in front. You really can't explain what I mean. The moon to me is a light, just like the sun's a light that goes around. And when it gets in front, you don't see it, and then all of a sudden it's in front of it, right? I mean,
right. No one's ever seen the moon approach the face of the sun, and cross it or exit it. They just see something eclipsing the sun.
Right.
And think about it: when you have a total eclipse, well, that's blocking all of the sunlight. Pretty much, you should be able to see the features on the moon. But you don't. You don't see anything. You just see blankness.
Right.
If you think about it, if you were on the moon looking at the Earth, well, the sun's behind you. You'd have a full Earth, like a full moon. Well, the Earth is 6 times bigger than the moon, and it's a little shinier. I would think that the Earth shine would light up the moon, just like the moon shine lights up the Earth. Right? When you're in the middle of nowhere and there's a full moon, you could read a book by it.
Right.
Okay. So, and it casts shadows on the ground. So. Nobody, no telescope, no infrared cameras, no one on the International Fake Station, nobody has ever seen the moon, because I don't believe that the moon is there. I don't believe that the sun and the moon that we see are physical. I think they're more of a projection into our
And
reality.
plus the fact at night when you're in the shade in the moonlight, the temperature is higher than when you're out of the shade. I
Right.
remember.
The moonlight is cold, but I have a problem. I don't really bring that up very much because out of like there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that have tested it, and I'd say 90% of them are doing it poorly and getting a false positive. Which doesn't mean that it's not right. It's just they're doing it wrong. They'll put a piece of cardboard over the ground to block the moonlight, and they'll go, "Look, it's warmer there." Well, you're insulating the ground with the cardboard, so you can't do it that way.
You just sounded like false positive what the tests going on today are.
Yeah, well, and again, that's I'm convinced that the moonlight is colder, and I just saw an experiment recently where they magnified that kind of light, and it's cold. But if you magnify moonlight, it gets significantly colder. Just like when you magnify sunlight, it gets hotter. The moonlight petrifies things, and the sunlight purifies things.
Yeah, and the sun is electrical, the moon's magnetic. Is that pretty much?
The sun and the moon are the anode and cathode of the Earth battery system. So this entire world is a free energy system, and the salt water carries the current, and the land is the salt bridge of that free energy battery. Oh, here it is. Anode, cathode, salt water carries the current, fresh water doesn't. Maybe the current, the electricity going through the water has something to do with the tides because there's no tides on lakes, which makes no sense in the helio-nonsensical BS model. And that's it. The current in the ground, there's a measurable worldwide negative charge to the Earth. The dome above us has a positive charge. It's creating this entire battery system, and that negative charge of the Earth attracts things to it. Like when you lift off the Earth, you become positively charged, and there's voltage in the air. There's 100 volts at 1 meter and 200 volts at 2 meters, and it goes up from there. So the Earth says, "Hey, down is this way." It's a weak force, just like they say gravity is a weak force. Down is this way, and then buoyancy and density sort everything else out. If I have a helium balloon, a ping pong ball, and a rock, and I hold it in the air over a pool, and I drop it, the ping pong ball is gonna the balloon's gonna go up because it's less dense than the air. Helium balloon, less dense than the air, so the air is pushing down, and it's just gonna push the balloon up. The rock and the ping pong ball will fall through the air because they're more dense. The ping pong ball will sit on top of the water because it's less dense. The rock will go to the bottom of the pool because it's more dense. Down is this way for everybody. Down is down for me. Down is down for you. Down is down for someone in Australia. It's not up. It's down. Down is down. Up is up. And buoyancy and density sort everything else out.
Why in a vacuum is a feather in a bowling ball?
Yeah.
At the same time?
Well, Sasha was asking a question about the vacuum with the bowling ball and the feather, and they come down the same.
This is a video I took in Australia. Very nice, right?
Well, yeah, they're up. That's the question I always like to ask people who live from Australia. I said, "How does it feel to be upside down your whole life?"
Yeah, they think we're upside down. So again, it's all nonsense for your mind. The question about the bowling ball and the feather, you probably saw that on Mythbusters, which is a government-controlled CIA-run show.
Right.
And they have it in a vacuum. It's all, if you watch that video again, you'll see that on the way down, there's like 5 cuts, just like when a NASA rocket takes off. It's not real. It's not happening. They can't create a total vacuum here on Earth anyway. And it's fake. Now, theoretically, in a vacuum with the negative charge of the Earth, a bowling ball and a feather would fall at the same speed, but we have no way of testing that.
Yeah. Now I was reading Edward Henry's book, which you told me to get right away, and he mentions you in your favorite chapter 33, by the way.
I did not know. I knew he mentioned me.
Time-lapse trickery. Time-lapse trickery. Anthony Paul produced a documentary film associated with New Zealand Film Commission in Antarctica, New Zealand, and it was about Antarctica, a year on ice. And he had these time-lapse photographs, and you found that it was trickery going on with that one.
Oh yeah, the 24-hour people say on a flat Earth, you can't have the Earth can't be flat. because you can't have a 24-hour sun in Antarctica on a flat Earth. And I say, you're absolutely right. But there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Antarctica is all of the land that surrounds our world pond. The sun and the moon spin around. Only when the sun and the moon are closer to the center do we have a 24-hour sun, but that's only in the Arctic. In the Arctic, not the Antarctic.
Right.
So right here, I'll show you. Here's the flat Earth, sun, moon, and zodiac clock app. If we look at the sun right now is over the Tropic of Cancer, that inner yellow line.
Right.
So it's circling the Arctic, and it gets. So if you look at Alaska and Norway, these right there, if you look at it, the sun's really never too far away from it, so it doesn't set. It doesn't set because the sun sets due to distance,
Right.
not the tilt of the Earth or not the horizon. It just moves away and it sets due to perspective, and I can show you that in a second. But as the sun spirals outwards, 6 months later, there should be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, but there's not. When we move it out to the Tropic of Capricorn, if you're standing out here in Antarctica, well, the sun goes away. And so there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. There's a bunch of fake videos that are so fake, it's unbelievable. But once you look at them, you're like, oh, now I see it. So think about this. If you're in the Arctic, the sun is arcing around you. If you're in the Antarctic, it's not arcing around you, it's antarcing away from you.
Right. Yeah, and I always see comments of people. This is something that I've watched so many of your shows in the last few weeks, and I love some of the people. There was a guy that was on your show that said he was on the flat Earth, but now he wasn't because of one small thing. And I love it when someone will say it's just, and then they tell you what it is, and I say that got you off the flat. All the things that get you off the globe are like so many things. But I've had people all the time say, well, I was on the flat Earth, but then there's one thing that bothers me, so I'm back on the globe.
Yeah, one thing that you can't explain. Flat Earthers know that we don't know a lot. Globers think they know everything, and they know nothing.
Exactly. But I always find it funny because it's like just one thing. I mean, how could once you, and here's the other thing about all truth, bottom line, and that's why I have a rule. My rule is if I know something is true, without a doubt, I don't have to keep researching it after a while, and that's when I write a song about it. That's my secret. Like, I won't mention all the things I've written songs about. I got like 36, 37 truth songs. But when I know something's, I see enough facts, it's time to write the song. And most songs come within 5 minutes of me once I know it. But I don't understand how someone can go back. I have, what's my slogan? Once you go flat, you don't go back. Once you see
once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Exactly. And once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. That's what I tell people. When I leave houses after I tune the pianos, I walk outside and I generally do this with my customers. I say, look up, and the sun will be, sun's up all the time here in Vegas, right? And it's been pretty hot, 118 degrees and stuff. And I always ask my customers, does that look 93 million miles away? Just ask yourself. And they all go, no. I go, okay. That's all I wanted to ask you. It's like, what else can I ask you? Do you feel the 1,000 mile an hour rotation? No. Okay.
Right. So does this sun look 93 million miles away? It's
Right.
It's right there, right over the Earth. This is at 120,000 feet. Doesn't look like it's much higher to me, if you ask me. Maybe it's a little higher. Maybe I'll give you 150,000 feet. I don't think it's much higher than that. That's where we see the sun.
Right.
I believe, though, that this is the second sun. The first sun, the real sun, the source of the sun, is outside of the firmament and is being focused in like a magnifying glass.
Right. Sasha has a question.
Why would the sun looks the same size up at this level than it does when you're low? So that means it has to be gigantic and far away because as you go up higher, it should be closer.
No, because you see the sun in a relative position to where you are. You see it within your atmospheric dome. When I watch the sun rise over Long Island Sound, if I look at it with clear head, I'm like, that's probably, it looks like it's right where Montauk is, and that's only 65 miles away from me. All right? So if that's true, its course through the day, it's only traveling 130 miles, right? That doesn't seem like a lot, and that's because we see things in our personal atmospheric dome. each person is standing inside. This is their field of view, and the sun is being rendered in their personal view. So right there is that convergence point, and you can see like 12 noon is straight up. So if this is the East Coast, it's nighttime over here, and it's noon, right? It's going backwards.
Right.
There's noon. So East Coast, it's late in the afternoon. West Coast, it's earlier in the day. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, right? 12 o'clock. Boom. And so that's how we see time zones. That's how we see the sun. And the sun does get smaller, but it depends on the weather conditions. When you're looking at the sun going away, depending on the weather conditions, it sometimes is magnified. Sometimes it's just an optical illusion that it's bigger on the horizon. We have a full moon tonight. Full moon's going to be coming up shortly here on the East Coast. When you look at the full moon, anyone that's listening to this, go out and look at the full moon. You're going to go, wow, that's big. Then turn over backwards, separate your legs, bend over, look at the moon upside down through your legs, and it will be tiny. It's all how our mind perceives it. It's incredible. Like this, John, are these tables the same size and same width?
I already saw this with the other shows. No, they're not. No, they are the same. I mean, that's the
exactly the same.
Yeah,
your
exactly.
mind can't render it. You can't figure it out because of the way we've been trained to see. Yeah. They're the same size.
Yeah, that's perspective, and well, that's the whole thing about why to me. Just imagine today. Well, now you studied astronomy for 4 years, right?
Yep, I did.
And now when you look back at that, how I did a science project where I did the solar system. I mean, I think every kid wanted to do the solar system. Baby.
Everyone had to do volcanoes, dinosaurs, solar system, all this stuff. The first worksheet you bring home is the planet's orbits and the moon's orbits, right? As a little kid, it's brainwashing. It's to put you in this mental prison. Slavery never ended. It was just extended to everybody.
Well, I was able to say Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus. Back as a kid, I would say it so fast. I used to practice it. The planets. I was like, I thought I was real smart because I could do that.
Because you could memorize and regurgitate nonsense.
Memorization never made you smart. I heard a song about that once. Did you
ever? I forget the lyrics.
What an insult to me, man. Jeez. No, wait.
Told me not to memorize it.
Okay. Anyway, okay. Anything else that you have? To me, I've been watching you more and more. I saw that 5-hour video where you got out about 3 hours where the guy kept saying this. But everything's a spear.
Perfect.
Everything's
perfect. It's a circle.
It is. Well, he was right. It is perfect for us. It is.
So here's the thing. Mainstream science has been spending a lot of effort going after us, right?
Yeah.
But they'll never talk to us, or they'll never actually, listen to us, and because we'll destroy them. We'll destroy Neil deGrasse Tyson, the failed actor, and Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie, the failed comedian. But here's a simple thing: we could end this discussion once and for all, and not for millions and millions of dollars. You can do it for, less than $100,000, whatever it costs. 2 airplanes. Everyone meets in Santiago. They fly us to Antarctica, to the base here. They refuel. And you have a whole bunch of flat earthers, scientists, teachers, whatever, on both planes. And one plane is 1,000 feet off the ground, just flying low so you can see the ground. And it follows the coastline, just off the coastline. It follows the coastline all the way around. This way the people can see it. They can observe it. They can try to take compass readings, but compasses won't work down there too well. And the other plane goes this way. Well, this is 13,000 miles around. 6,500 miles later, they should meet over here. End of story. Earth is a globe. But it won't, because it doesn't work that way, because it's a much bigger circle. Captain Cook tried it. It took him 3.5 years, and he went over 60,000 miles. Right? It's not a continent at the bottom of a ball. This is a bigger circle. On a ball, it can't be bigger than the 24,901 mile equator, because that's, you're down at the bottom. It's a smaller circle, 13,000 miles, just like they tell us. It's not. The distances in the south get bigger and bigger. That's why flight routes prove the Earth is a globe.
You mean
I always say that I have dyslexia, lystexia. I have it so bad. The Earth is.
Now look, someone's gonna take that out.
I know. Everyone always says, I don't care.
Yeah.
Per Perth.
Well,
to Los
doing 5
Angeles,
shows
this
a
is
day.
yeah, Perth to Los Angeles. This is how they tell you they go.
Yeah.
If you look at it, is that Perth to Los? No, here's Perth to Los Angeles right there. That's the actual route.
Has Neil deGrasse Tyson ever accepted a debate with any flat
No, he will
earther?
never ever talk to anyone.
That's all I have to tell people every day. I said, if the fact that he will not debate anyone.
Well, he says the science is settled, and
Yeah,
you
science
don't need
is
to give time to flat earthers.
Yeah,
right?
science is
They've got
settled.
everyone bamboozled. It's unreal, John. It's unreal. It's unreal. We live in a Looney Tune world, and all of those Looney Tunes think you and I are loony.
Well, kind of like what's going on since last year. I'm not saying anything about it, but I guarantee not one person who knows the Earth is stationary and flat, not one believed last year's beginning of this thing we're going through. Not one. When you say that's probably true, not one stationary Earth truther believed what happened.
That's why I went into this, because I'm noticing that when people wake up to this reality, they no longer believe this nonsense.
Exactly. That is
Right.
that is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite Mark Twain's quote is this. And he's had a lot of them, and he probably was a Freemason. I shouldn't say that, but anyway, when you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. That, to me, has never been more apropos than right now in what's going on. Wouldn't you say? If you find yourself wearing a, it's like, come on, man. And I saw you in one of you had a great video where they tried to kick you out. I mean, it's mind-boggling, man. What's going on?
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get on shows, non-flat earther shows, because those are the people that need to see. But John, I'll tell you positively, there's a lot of people waking up. I'm getting emails all the time. I saw you on this show. And it was a little show I did, with a small audience, but they saw me there, and bam, they've been looking into it, and they thank me, like, oh my God, I can finally start living my life properly. That's what this is all about, John. This is about finding out who you are, where you are, what you are, and stop believing that you're spinning out of control, lost in space with distant planets and suns. All of that is nonsense.
Yeah, I came up with a new bucket list, and my bucket list, I don't want to kick the bucket before I get out of here. That's my bucket list. I mean, I want to keep. I know you and me have not changed our lifestyle one iota. You still live your life. I live my life, and I tell if everybody was an adult per se, and a real adult, none of this would have got legs that's going on right now, because you would have said this is nonsense. We all have an immune system. This is nonsense. Come on, man. And the same thing. And the same thing. What NASA shows us. You saw those Mars photos, the cartoons of landing on Mars, and they get up and they clap.
It's ridiculous. The whole Mars thing is absolutely insane. This video playing in the background here, this is the only proof that we have that we landed a rover on Mars. Nonsense. It's a cartoon. The question is, how old were you when they told you the Earth was a globe, and did they show you anything other than cartoons? And the answer is very young, and no, they didn't.
Yeah, well, that's the beginning of my song that I wrote for you, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. When you're young, they make you say a pledge of allegiance to the flag. There's a globe on the teacher's desk, and then they tell you the Earth is moving fast. It's all part of the master plan to keep you in the dark for as long as they can. That's what it is. Huh? Anybody want to argue that? I mean, come on, man. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
Insanity, John.
Yeah. Well, let's see what... I'm trying to think of all the other stuff that you were showing. Anything else you want to keep going, man? Just... there's... I don't know what the clock is for you. Do you have another show after this?
I do. We have 13 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm on the space station.
Oh, right. All right.
It's that simple.
That really looks real.
So
I think it looks better than what NASA shows us.
Okay, we got a question from the chat room here.
Go, hit it.
Why is the moon and sun round but not the Earth?
Is the moon and sun round? I mean, and first, why are the lights in your ceiling the shape that they are? Why isn't the floor the same shape as the lights in your ceiling? So here's the question. Take a look at the screen. Is that a sphere? Well, No, but that's kind of fooled because you only see one side. Is this one a sphere? Sasha, is that a sphere?
It looks like a sphere, yeah.
Sorry, it's flat.
Yep.
So to say that you know what shape those things are that you're seeing, is this one a sphere?
No.
Well, you're just guessing, but it looked like a sphere. Okay, this is the only one that's a sphere. So first, that's a fallacy that things above you have to be the same size as things underneath your feet. You know, that would mean that pool tables are spheres because the balls are spheres, right? When I look at Saturn, it kind of looks spherical to me with a lit ring around it, but that has nothing to do with Earth. It's small. There's not other planets like an Earth. You know, Earth is the only solid thing here, and those other things are lights in the sky. If you look at Mars through a super zoom camera, this is what Mars looks like. It's not a rocky ball, a dusty ball reflecting sunlight. It's an energetic, probably sentient intelligence. I don't know what it is, but all of the planets, which used to be called wandering stars, are named after gods.
And that looks like it's in water, which is what we were told: water above, water below, and in the firmament. And all those pictures, they look like they're in the water to me. I mean, when
this is the star Arcturus. Anyone can look at it. This is the star Capella. It's like amazing geometric shapes, sacred geometry. Here's a whole bunch. They kind of look like they're underwater, and we can recreate things underwater that look just like this. So what are we seeing? It ain't burning balls of hydrogen in a space vacuum, that's for sure.
If that's coming from the Earth, then you're just getting, the atmospheric aberrations. It looks
Yeah,
like things are
cool story, bro.
Hey, put on your sunglasses, David. Yeah.
Sorry, bro. I hear you. When we do look through the atmosphere, yeah, it can create some aberrations like this. But why are they all have their own personality? Like when you look at these, different stars, like this is Capella, and this is Arcturus. That doesn't look like an atmospheric aberration to me,
They have
right?
light frequencies depending on the frequency of the stars.
Well, if the frequency, yeah, it's small here and it has a different frequency. But they tell us these things are just burning balls of hydrogen trillions of miles away. That's nonsense. That's ridiculous.
Well, remember,
and
the black hole was 500 million light years away. Remember, it looked like a glazed donut about 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's such nonsense. It's just the dumbest thing ever. And it was on the Soundgarden, was it the Black Hole Sun record album? It had the same photo from years earlier.
Yeah. That's what a glazed donut, man. At 500 million light years away, how far is it? That's the thing that they always do. They give us these huge numbers. I mean, there's trillions of millions and billions and stars. Remember Carl Sagan? Billions and billions of stars. I used to love that guy. I thought he was the greatest.
Yeah, me too. I followed all of his stuff, and that's why I was so good at astronomy, because I watched Cosmos.
Yeah.
But look at this. 747, gigantic, right? Big wheels, big engines. Here's a 747 at cruising altitude. Can you see the wings? Can you see the engines? No. Right? Look, can you see the wings and engines? No. You just see the trail, and you can see the shape of an airplane. You're like, okay, double the height. Provably you can't see it. Well, the space station, which is about the same size, is 50 times higher. Really? What are we seeing? We see this big light, bigger than this, cruise by. What is it? Well, they're faking it. It's with an old B-2 bomber that's been modified, where parts of it are transparent and the bottom of the belly is covered with LED lights to give you the shape that they're looking for. And they have 5 of these things, and they fly them around to make you think that you're seeing the space shuttle. It's ridiculous. Like, we watch it cross in an 8-minute crossing, right? Where you can watch it ride. Sometimes it's 8 minutes. 8 minutes from horizon to horizon. Well, it's 17,500 miles an hour. 8 minutes means it's going from the East Coast to the West Coast in that 8 minutes. But only the people in like Connecticut, in a thin line through where I live, can see it. And all of the people across the rest of the United States don't see it. That proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the thing that we're seeing is much smaller, much closer, and that's why only that narrow band of people can see it. Because if it went, 3,500 miles in 8 minutes. That's all the way across the United States. That means everyone across the United States would see it. And no, it's only a little narrow band because we're seeing it
But that's
much
traveling
smaller, much
fast.
closer.
That's 8 minutes. It's traveling really fast. I don't think planes can go that fast.
Well, no, no, because it's smaller and closer. It's only going 500 miles an hour, maybe even less. Okay, but they tell us that it's higher and going faster. The numbers don't add up. But you can't tell how fast something's going unless you know how far it is. Like if a car drove by you at 100 miles an hour, it's going to whiz by you. But if that same car was up in the sky at 10 miles up or whatever, it's going to be moving slow like an airplane, even slower because it's only going 100 miles an hour. So relative size and distance and speeds, you need to know some of them to know what size they are or how fast something's going. So they just tell us it's big and far, but it's really small and close.
So, Dave, isn't that the same thing as a parallax effect? So that the sun is huge and far away, and you got closer planets, and you see it going back and forth on the line will be longer in the back, where the parallax of the line will be shorter in the front, but they're same distances. Let's say it's an equal line where the sun's at, and it's an equal line where the Earth is at, and it's going back and forth. You would see the Earth moving faster, where the sun would be moving slower in the background. That's parallax.
Well, they tell us that there's parallax in the stars. NASA says, they can let the way they can tell the distance of a star is they'll look at it how close it is to one star in January, and then in June when we're 186 million miles on the other side of the sun, they'll look and they'll see, that orientation of the two stars changed, and they do some math. That's baloney because we've traveled 4.4 billion miles at the same time, and there's no parallax from that. Are you kidding me? So they
pick and choose.
They pick and choose, and they change their story all the time. None of it's true. I mean, we're corkscrewing through space, right? We're orbiting at 66,000 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at 800
The sun going
500,000 miles an hour, and then that entire system is moving sideways at over 1,000,000 miles per hour. But somehow the stars always reset. You go look at the stars tonight, and then next year, same time, same night, you'll see that they're in the exact same position.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about was compressed air. Is that pretty much? I've seen a lot of videos. All these airplanes supposedly have all this fuel in the wings.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And it's compressed air. How they have a little to get up and some to come down, but basically when they're in the sky, it's all compressed air. How they fly, right?
Well, I don't think it's just like air canisters. I think it's all resonance. So when the plane gets up to a certain speed, they're electric. The engines are electric. Just listen to them.
Right.
It's not an internal combustion engine, and it's picking energy out of the air. So it's the air coming in. The design of these engines. These are big jets. They're not using fuel. They're basically combusting air.
And that goes back to 9/11 with the jet fuel stuff. There wasn't they had explosions and there weren't any jet
Well, there was no airplanes.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just
no jet fuel.
But I'm just saying. You remember that was the big thing, the jet fuel. The jet fuel. Well, if the planes are flying with compressed air, it's again they have a lot of hoaxes going on all the time. They keep everybody as
they keep us divided. Was it directed energy? Was it mini nukes? Was it
nanothermal?
Was there planes? Was there no planes? They want us fighting. They don't care.
Exactly.
As long as we're fighting, they're happy.
And that's what I tell people too. Everything that I've been involved with, every single truth that I've been involved with, they always go after. So that's a good sign. Georgia guy, so yeah, that's one sign. It's not written in stone, by the way, about the 500.
Yeah, not like they wrote it in stone. Oh, they did. Right?
Yeah, that's Polaris going up, right?
Here's the way I look at it. What's going on right now, they're trying to reset the world. If we let them, they're going to. That's why I'm doing this, because all you have to do is say, no, I don't agree. If everyone tomorrow said, I don't believe in the government anymore, they're done. They're finished. It's over. The only control the government has over you is in your imagination.
Well, what's the difference between rape and a mandatory jab? Nothing. You can't force anything. You can't force
No, rape is probably better.
Exactly. I never heard that answer, but you got a point there.
Yeah, John, I don't want to go there. If you had a choice of being raped or jabbed with the
With
jab,
poisons.
don't answer the question, but I know the answer.
Okay. Well, hey, on that, anything else? Try. I don't know how you can do all these shows back to back to back to back to
I'm
back.
gonna fall down tonight. I got two more.
Oh boy.
I'm on with Jeffrey Dougherty at 10 p.m. live on Rockfin. Everyone check that out. Most people, I'm guessing most people here are truthers. They know about my app. But if you want to learn about flat Earth, this is the way to do it. It's $3 one-time charge. You don't have to subscribe, but if you want to subscribe, you can. You still get everything if you don't. Check it out. And if you think I'm stupid, give me one proof of the globe and you win 2 Bitcoins. But you have to watch the featured video every day for 2 weeks. And then before you send me your question or proof, look at the frequently asked questions because it's probably in there. And you're not going to win.
I'd like to see Neil deGrasse Liar offer to prove the flat plane. Would he offer anybody? No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't offer anything. We can prove that every day.
He'll never talk to us because he can't because we destroy them. There's no proof of the globe. They straw man us. They make arguments like, oh, flat earthers think the Earth is rising at 9.8 meters per second.
Yeah, they make that.
Gravity. That's silly because it would have to keep accelerating to do that. I'm like, no flat earther thinks that.
Yeah, that's now you got to head out. I was gonna play your song as we leave.
Good, I can go 10 more minutes.
Okay, but I wanted to play this song I wrote for you, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and I don't write a song for everybody, David. I hope you know that.
I do.
And this one I think covers it pretty good. Here's Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, everybody. When you're young, they make you say a pledge of allegiance to a flag. There's the globe sitting on your teacher's desk. Then they tell us the earth is moving fast. Or is it? It's all part of their master plan to keep you in the dark as long as they can. 'Cause deep inside the rabbit hole are so many secrets that need to be told. Yes, deep inside the rabbit hole, how far are you willing to go inside the rabbit hole? Close your eyes and feel your heart beat. All your thoughts will slowly transcend. Hear your soul, it's telling you to calm down. Live your life fully to the end. Or does it? The truth is deep inside of you all the time. So push away the programming that's ruined your minds. 'Cause deep inside the rabbit hole are so many secrets that you need to know. Yes, deep inside the rabbit hole, how far are you willing to go inside the rabbit hole? Truth is deep inside of you all the time. Push away the programming that's ruined your mind. 'Cause deep inside the rabbit hole are so many secrets that need to be told. Yes, deep inside the rabbit hole, how far are you willing There's so many secrets that you need to know. 'Cause deep inside your rabbit hole, there's so much to know. Down the rabbit hole. The earth is beautiful, stationary, and it's flat, my friends. Inside the rabbit hole. And by the way, David, this shirt you designed, right? The one I have on? You said you
I
designed.
did. It's one of my favorites.
And you know, I was thinking when this was on, remember Bob Hope, he'd show up everywhere and they'd have thanks for the memories. Everywhere you go, they should be playing that. Here's a deep inside the rabbit hole, David Weiss.
John, do you have any video of the recording of that? You got these chorus people singing and stuff. You got to video it, because that would be. It's just, like, I can't imagine some of your songs where you have these beautiful ladies singing these.
Right. Well,
amazing
I
Fleetwood
should
lyrics.
videotape stuff. Maybe I should start doing that. But I'm just saying now for Mike Williams, I wrote "Don't Fall for Paul," but he gets tired of hearing that, so he probably doesn't want to hear that song anymore because he's so much more than just that. And
Mike is going to be speaking, I believe, at Flattoberfest in South Carolina in October. Anybody that wants to go to a real Flat Earth conference music festival, it's going to be a lot of fun. Mid to late October. You can find that information at flatearthfestivals.com, or if you have the app, just go into settings and you'll see it there, or it's on one of the side pages.
well, you guys were going to come to Vegas last year, right?
We had it all planned, and then the COVID's hit.
Oh, hey, well, you can't say that word.
I mixed up the word. I added the fraudsy. I added up his two favorite events into one.
Yeah, now people that still believe this, haven't they noticed that you can't say anything against it at all?
Yeah.
And haven't they
Don't
noticed
ruin-
that
don't ruin the video.
if you say anything, it's like, forget about it. It's I mean, come on, man. I mean, living in fear is not the way I want to live.
John, what does Flat Earth do for you? It takes the fear out of living.
Exactly.
Even with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, I have no fear of anything. It's amazing.
Well, you're not afraid of an asteroid going to hit us?
No, there's one that misses us every other day, and it's
Well,
nonsense.
the number they gave a long time ago was 1 in 6,000. That was it. That was a low number. I thought if an
I
asteroid.
thought it was 6 million.
There's another one. Do you want to hear that right now?
That one will get you booted. You can't play that.
Yeah, exactly. I get booted a lot of times. If you notice, 12. By the way, anyone watching who doesn't know me, 12 CDs I've released, and all 12 are censored. The only way you can get them is going to johnniems.com, and you can download them there or buy the CDs. If you buy them, I sign them and mail them. Although, I could get into the post office last year. I had to fight my way through because of, you know what, they had, you can't come in without that face diaper on, and I was livid without them. So, but ideally, you can just download them there. And that's and by the way, on memorization, that was Sasha playing lead guitar. By the way, in case anybody knows, he's a great guitar player.
John, I gotta go. Great talking to you. Let's do it again.
Hey, let's do it soon. And next week we're gonna have Sherry Lewis on.
Nice.
Shelly Lewis. What about Sherry? Shelly Lewis.
Lewis.
Shelly, sorry about
All
that.
right, John, I gotta roll. See you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hey, great seeing you, David. Keep doing it, man. Bye bye.
All right, bye.
And I said Shelly. Shelly Lewis is on next Wednesday, folks. So come back. She's probably in the chat room right now. She's mad at me.
She's pissed.
She's pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Shelly, well, you misspelled my name the first time, so
Who's Sherry? She said, who's Sherry? What are you talking about?
Shelly Lewis is coming on next Wednesday, same time, 4 o'clock. Okay, everybody, have a good night. I hope you learned something. I hope you realize what a big hoax this is, and the hoax that's going on is almost as big. So you have a good night. Love you all. Peace. I'm out. in our hearts. The air we breathe was made in heaven. Vitamin D from the sun. Food with nutrition, with water we are living. Our immune system is second to none. Our bodies are made to fight off disease. Now that should be very clear. Toxic medicines and poison vaccines. It's time for the germ theory to get out of here. Get out of here. Bye-bye, germ theory. Our bodies are made to fight off disease. Now that should be very clear. Toxic medicines and poison vaccines. It's time for the germ theory to get out of here. All things good are made in heaven. We've been blessed from the start. I'm thankful that my music is sending. Hear me now, all loving hearts.
I got it. Okay.
Our blue earth is the center of the universe, filled with Jesus' love. Good night, everybody. Have a good night. Thanks for coming. Love you all. Bye-bye.